Okay, so this is a video that's going to be dedicated to the Trade All Day Crypto Basics Boot Camp. And what this session is going to be focused on is how to build your own Bitcoin ecosystem using open source software and a USB thumb drive. So all you'll have to do is go out and get a simple USB thumb drive. I recommend a size of 32 gigs at a minimum, even though the specs call for 8 gigs. The reason I request 32 gigs is just to give you a little bit more room for storage. This is not going to be an operating system that you'll build out of Tails Linux that you will use for anything more than operating your private bank. However, what I want you to get into the process of doing is being able to operate in a safe ecosystem as opposed to utilizing insecure mobile environments connected to the internet or computer-based environments. And the other thing that you can definitely avoid is the misconception that you get with hardware wallets like the Ledger or the Nano and the Treasure Nano and essentially when you buy those hardware devices, they're storing your private keys on the device. Again, it's not bad. It's just essentially deceptive. And I know as physical human beings, we want physical things in order to touch it and feel it. And in order for us to kind of begin this process so that everyone is on the same page, what I wanted to do is to start with a description of how cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, how does it actually work? So I have a nice little diagram that I'm going to go through right now just to introduce you to what Bitcoin is and how the ecosystem works. And then we'll switch right into a description of how to build the Tails operating system and how I'm going to walk you through how to build that, because while you're building that operating system in terms of Tails Linux, it also comes with a Bitcoin wallet. And if you get this done and built through this weekend, next Tuesday when we do the next boot camp, I will focus time on how to use the Bitcoin wallet and some best practices in doing so. All right, so Bitcoin is certainly a digital currency. You know, this digital currency is not the first decentralized currency, but certainly the most successful. All right, so current market cap of $1.1 trillion. You know, the average daily transactions are in the billions. We're talking almost 100 billion per day, with average holding time of almost 2 months or a little more. And the important thing in terms of its store of value is the fact that it's a limited coin. There will only be 21 million Bitcoins ever in existence. And right now we're at over 18 million. And give it another less than 20 years, it will all be mined, meaning it will be even more scarce. So if you look at that timeline, you're looking at a value here sub 60,000. There are some macro events that are happening throughout this year as financial institutions start to put some of their cash on hand in Bitcoin. There are a lot of different projections that if institutions put up to 10% of their cash on hand in Bitcoin, the value will naturally rise to about 400,000. And that's just institutional action. There are many other macro forces that are driving value, and it's based upon a number of different factors. You know, numbers don't lie, people do, right? So when we look at Bitcoin, it's an encrypted digital ledger. So it's very transparent, meaning anyone can look on the Bitcoin and look at those public addresses and know that a transaction has processed. All right. So, you know, we'll spend some time and go through that as well so that you can see that next week. We'll process some transactions, we'll track the transactions, you know, we'll send, we'll receive, we'll create different public addresses so that that's your checking account. And then, you know, you'll keep everything on the blockchain in your savings account, you know, just to compare it to traditional centralized type of transactions. But it's a digital ledger, and it's certainly, when they say virtually unhackable, the only way it's going to be hacked is if you have bad practices. And that's why I'm promoting cold wallets, cold wallet storage. Hot wallets are good for everyday transactions. But again, to understand my philosophy, I'm not encouraging you to use Bitcoin for your daily transactions, to go grocery shopping, to go shopping, to go buy sneakers, to go buy clothes, to buy even shoes or other things for daily care. I'm not encouraging you to do that at all. I'm encouraging you to acquire Bitcoin and hold it for the long term and get the appreciation of value. It is certainly a decentralized cryptocurrency, meaning no one can stop you from transferring from one address to another. All right. There's certainly taxable events, and you should be aware of that. This is not financial advice. So definitely understand when you have a taxable event, you know, you will be required to report that to the IRS and pay your fair taxes, right? So understand that there is a responsibility in operating your private bank in this way, but I just want you to know it's possible. So looking at the actual digital ledger, it is a blockchain. So it's one transaction after the next. There are many different types of blockchain and blockchain type technologies. I refer to generation one as the Rolls Royce of Bitcoin. And when I talk about generation two blockchain, I'm referring to something called Ethereum, which is more smart contracts, which are programmable in that, you know, it connects a actual event to the payment. So it's programmable. If this contract is fulfilled and the payment is sent, and vice versa. There are different events that can be triggered. Generation 3 is even more promising, and this you'll find in different cryptos such as Cardano, which I'm excited about after talking with the Cardano Foundation. Found out a lot about not only the smart contract feature, but the ability to have more metadata and to potentially interact with data elements off of the blockchain. So very interested in that, especially if it can be secured. Very exciting. So when you think about this decentralized ecosystem, you have to think about, how does it function? Well, it functions because every time someone processes a transaction, they got to get paid for it. And meaning there's transaction fees. So those transaction fees will actually be listed before you actually make a trade, sending, you know, your your currency in Bitcoin to someone else. A single unit or basis point of Bitcoin is called a Satoshi, named after Satoshi Nakamoto, the person or the pseudonym or alias of the person or the team that actually created Bitcoin. It's rumored right now that over 1 million Bitcoins were originally mined by that team, and they still sit on the blockchain making, we're talking a value over $60 billion. So it couldn't be an individual, to leave that store of value in that same place for so long without touching it. Anyway, that's just a little bit on the background. So you understand things have to be processed. That means they generate fees. And now we can get into the actual building of the Tails environment. All right, so here we are in the website for Tails. And in order to build this environment, what you're going to do is go to tails.boum.org. When you go to that website, it will look just like this. This, again, is an open source platform, very secure. It's updated on a regular basis. I definitely recommend you maintain an updated version of this. It's definitely something that will keep you secure as you operate. And, if there are major updates, you definitely want to keep up with those updates. And, especially, if you have any questions as you operate your private bank, reach out to me at any time. I'm happy to help. So when you come here, there's a lot of good documentation, but I'm just going to walk you through what this is. This is a way for you to build an environment that will prevent surveillance, viruses. It will keep you secure because you're booting out of your everyday system into this secure ecosystem. It's looked at as a security toolbox. It's free software. It's built, ready to go. And when you look at the list of people who are using it, it's activists, journalists, and they're even promoting it for domestic violence survivors, which is a good idea, and anyone who needs extra privacy in the digital world. And would you know who is promoting use of it? Edward Snowden, the NSA whistleblower, and folks of that ilk who are really looking for, serious, secure ways to operate. When you're ready to go, you click Get Tails 4.17, which is the current version that was updated, I think, just the end of March. So that's awesome. Then what you're going to be doing is you're not going to be downloading the software to the USB drive. You're going to download the software to your computer. I would open up a folder on your computer, and you have to choose the type of operating system that you have. I'm using Windows. If you have Mac, you choose Mac OS. If you're using Linux, Ubuntu, or what have you, Red Hat, you would go to Linux. All right, so here I am in Windows. I'm just going to walk through, and again, you can see what you need. USB stick. This download is going to take some time. I'm not going to actually do the download. I'm just going to talk you through it so that you kind of get a sense of the process. I just want you to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. All right, so what you're going to do then is go ahead and click install, and it's going to give you a little kind of diagram of what's going to happen. It's going to take some time to download it. Since it's a gig at 1.2 gigs, you're going to download it directly to your computer, not on the USB stick, but you need the USB stick to be mounted and ready. And it's recommending that you have another computer or a tablet so you can follow the instructions. So that's essentially what's going on. So if you're hearing me do this you can play the video on your phone while you are building it on your actual laptop, desktop, etc. And the process is you're going to download this to that computer. Then you're going to install it to that external drive. You'll restart it, and then we'll go through the configuration, restart, and then you're ready to start using your Bitcoin wallet. All right. And then when it says let's go, here's where you actually go ahead and download that Tails file, which is a USB image ready to be burned or flashed to the USB drive. After you download it to that folder, I always recommend using different folders or directories so that you have your files organized. After you download it, then you're going to click verify. You always want to verify downloads because, you know, things happen. Let's say you made a mistake and you went to tails.boum.com. I believe that actually is also owned by this organization, so you still would be safe and it would forward you right back to .org. However, there are fake websites out there that always try to impersonate, and it might have some misspelling of tails. Maybe it's tail, right? And you just want to verify, because the verification process, if you were on the wrong website, might, you know, give you a false sense of security. But I'm always telling you to verify where you are, tails.boum.org. And then when you do this verification process, it's really going to validate that you have the right software and nothing has been corrupted. All right. All right, so you're there. And once you're done with that, then what I'm going to do is forward into the process. I had skipped download. I've done this already several times. And there you go. Now that you finished the download of the Tails image, what you're going to do is you're going to download another piece of software. This software is a software that actually will allow you to select that Tails image 4.17 and also install it to the USB drive. All right, so this is a flashing utility. It's called Etcher. You're going to download that to your Windows, Mac, or Linux computer. Once you're done downloading that, then you're going to go through the process of flashing. Now, the warning here is that understand what you're doing. When you flash an image to a hard drive, you have to make sure that you're selecting the right drive. If you put in a SanDisk USB stick and it says select image, when you select the image, it's talking about the Tails 4.17 image you downloaded into the folder. All right. Then when it says select drive, you're going to select the hard drive or the USB thumb drive that you are trying to burn to. You also can burn this to a DVD drive as well. All right. And the best practice with that is if you install this operating system on a DVD drive, you just have to make sure you write down your seed words. And every time you go into your private bank, you can type in your seed words, retrieve your wallet, process a transaction, and then when you reboot, you have to enter your seed words every time. A little bit of annoying, a little bit more, maintenance and more opportunity to get something wrong. But what I'm sharing with you is that it's also super safe, because now your operating system will never be corrupted. All right. Not a major risk to your assets, but just inconvenient. All right. Right. So now after you've selected the right file, the right drive, you're going to click flash. It will take a few minutes to actually flash. And then what you're going to do is you're going to start. Now the USB drive is ready to go, meaning this is now a computer by itself. You pop this into the computer, and then you're going to boot to the computer. All right. So there's a couple different ways to do it. On the Windows machine, it's actually telling you to hold the shift key when you choose power restart, and then you're going to choose the option to use the device. All right. And you're going to make sure when you boot, you're going to go to the USB drive or removable devices. It could look a little different than that. If you have any questions about it, let me know. This is something that you don't want to change your settings to do, because I don't want you corrupting your actual start drive. All right. So there you go. Now that you've booted, this is what Linux looks like. Linux is very secure, no frills type operating system. It's giving you two choices when you're booting. All right. And when you're booting, it's going to say Tails or the troubleshooting menu, and you want to go Tails. And it comes to this welcome screen. The welcome screen is awesome. It means that you've gone very far. And first thing that I always tell everyone, because I want you to do a couple steps before we actually get to the Bitcoin wallet. First thing, I would like you to click the plus sign and set an admin password. Once you hit the plus sign, you'll see the option in there. After you do that, then you go ahead and start Tails. And that's that blue button in the top left-hand corner. After you do that, the next thing you need to do is to connect to your Wi-Fi network. And the Wi-Fi network is in that top right-hand corner, and it will give you a window that looks like this, and it will, you'll see this pull down. It has sound, display brightness, and then it'll say Wi-Fi not connected. You click that, you select your Wi-Fi your Wi-Fi network, enter the password for your Wi-Fi network, rock and roll. Now you're connected to the internet. All right. Now, the other thing that you're going to do, and you'll find this in the menu of the operating system. I'm going to back up so I can show you the window again. You find the applications in the top left-hand corner, right? You click on applications, and then the next thing I want you to do is create an encrypted hard drive on the same USB storage. So when you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to select applications, Tails, configure persistent drive. All right. The configuring a persistent drive means it's encrypting your thumb drive. Now, here's the reason why you're doing all of this. You're doing it so that if you lose this, no one can just pop it in and look at your stuff. All right. You're encrypting the actual file contents, and you're creating a password so no one can just boot into your private bank. All right. So this is just simple stuff, but it's super secure, and doing it this way will, protect the drive. All right. Now, after you do that, you create that persistent volume, you have to reboot. After you reboot, you come right back here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, in this encrypted persistent storage, it's showing that a part of your thumb drive is locked. You're going to enter your password and click unlock. All right. Now, I'm sure I'm missing a step here, because there's a step that actually allows you to select the different type of security that you have, and you can walk down and select the different elements of security that you're going to actually use. So by default, it's going to have the first box checked. You're going to walk through, make sure Bitcoin is checked. You're also going to want to be able to protect and save the passwords. If you have any questions about that selection process, again, the goal here is not for you to start doing all of your everyday computing on this volume. This is your private bank. You're certainly going to be able to go in. I certainly would recommend that you consider using a printer as opposed to keeping any of your private keys on the machine. Printing it to an external printer is also safe and secure and possible in this environment. Once you're done with this, then you're going to hit Start Tails. And Start Tails bring you right into the operating system. And now you'll be able to go into applications, internet, and be able to start to look at the Bitcoin wallet that's built in. All right. So this is the essentially the basics that I wanted to go over. Starting next week, what we're going to do is on next Tuesday, we're going to focus on the Electrum Bitcoin Wallet. You don't have to download anything else. As long as you downloaded Tails, it comes installed. And as you can see, it is a wonderful wallet. This is a wallet that's never been hacked. It's a very secure environment that allows the support of lots of different security, all right, including two-factor authentication. It can support hardware wallet use as well, or multi-sig, in all of those different ways to split permission if you're trying to balance security with safety. My first recommendation is you don't need all of that as long as you have safe practices, and this is a truly offline wallet. Essentially, once you do that and you lock it into cold storage, then that cold storage practice is best practice. You know, you write down your seed words. All right. We'll go over that again next week. And if there are any questions after seeing this, you know, certainly let me know. But I just wanted to re-record it and, you know, really succinctly demonstrate all of those things. And if there's any questions, we had some good questions last Tuesday. Some of them went into the weeds. We talked about specific cryptocurrencies, and, you know, a lot of that was unnecessary. So anyway, it's late, so I'm going to go to sleep now. But if there's any questions, you know, reach out to me, DM me. I'm happy to help. All right, take care.